So, social anxiety can be and is, in my opinion, one of the most underrated epidemics that is going around. The amount of people that I witness that are limiting themselves because of social anxieties that do come in many forms is completely phenomenal. It can be to one person, the inability or the nervousness to express yourself, but to the other person, it might present themselves as someone who is really confident in, say, for example, their workplace environment, yet when it comes to particular situations, they limit themselves. Social anxiety is, in my opinion, mislabeled, and we're going to get into that. And in this video, we're going to be talking about 3 of my most powerful methods of breaking past social anxiety. And as someone who has spent almost their life dedicated to it, as someone who is a dating coach, social anxiety, social skills, all comes into, I guess, the repertoire that I have developed over a period of time. And as someone who has experimented with everything, and I mean everything, I've tried a variety of different methods, I would consider myself one of the most hard case people with social anxiety. And for people growing up with me, would have been surprised by that if the stuff that I teach here will work for me, it can work for you. And if it can work for all the clients that I've talked to and worked with, and the stuff that I'm going to give you is probably very different to the stuff that you'll hear somewhere else. Somewhere else they might say, hey, use these lines, prepare and open, and all this sort of stuff. But the stuff that I'm going to share here will not only heal the social anxiety, but also make it feel like you've never had that anxiety before. In fact, some of the clients that I work with one-on-one in my 6-week program have often reported at the end of it that they never felt that, it's like they never felt that anxiety before. And sure, with it can come with all the emotions that the anxiety was there to hold off. Because why are we anxious? We're anxious because if we go there, we're going to feel pain. So often when we feel and heal the pain, we're pulling out the weed from that root level. We're not just cutting off the leaves, which is what a lot of advice out there will do. And trust me, I know this. I've been through it all. It's ridiculous. When you try and feel like something is going to help you, or when you try and understand something logically, often what logic does is it helps you feel that relief momentarily. But then very shortly, with that momentary relief brings it more problems. So we're here to solve the root level problem, the real causality, the real, if it's a weed, from the base of the actual plant. You pull it out with your fucking hands. You don't just trim off the leaves and go, oh, look at that, it looks good. Because if you're looking for a problem, or if you feel like social anxiety, you just want something to get you through it rather than, say, for example, remove it, then this is not going to be the video for you. And my stuff isn't the stuff for you, because I'm not looking to give momentary benefit to people. It can bring momentary benefit, but I want it to be like you never had social anxiety in the first place. And so when I work with people one-on-one, that's what we do, and that's some of my favorite things to do. In fact, I could literally just base my entire life around helping people around social anxiety, and that would be it. But you know what? It's more than that. So let's talk about social anxiety. My experience with social anxiety. So this is a little bit of a confessional, if you're interested in that. If not, you can skip to the time code this, where we'll get into the first one. Choice is yours. But my experience with social anxiety was very interesting. So growing up, I was always that socially floater kid, right? Socially floater kid, where it was when I was in schools, because my parents moved me around from schools quite a lot, so I had to learn how to make friends very quickly. And because of that, I was always a social floater. So I never really paid attention to friendship groups. In fact, in one of the schools I went to, there was, in fact, one of those queen bees. I remember that. And, the one who would put down all the other girls mostly and try and get the guys to like them. And I remember she wanted to treat me like I was a puppy dog at one point. And I didn't really understand what that was. I thought that was really silly. I was like, I already made plans with these guys. I'm going to go there now. And it's interesting. But growing up, I thought I was very social. I thought I was extremely social. Then I met some people that were more social than me. And I used to base my entire value of myself around my social skills. I valued myself. I thought I was a very social person. But what happened was, when I started to expand into the real world, I started to see what other people who were social or more social than me, or who were valued more than me, when really they were just the novelty at the time, I suddenly put myself down. I became my own world, or my worst enemy. And if you've ever felt like your own worst enemy, like there, you will relate to this. Anyway, from there, that's where I got into the whole dating world. I thought that I really needed to figure out myself, my social anxiety, which suddenly I had developed because I was comparing myself to other people. So suddenly I was only social in certain situations, ones that I was practiced in. And then I really got in my head, thought that I had to practice other social situations, when really beforehand, what made me so good was that I was not practiced, that I was just expressing my soul. And that's actually one of the big fundamental bases around what I teach in my 6-week program, is that you are at a very base fundamental, like you're already enough, and it's feeling that is such a good ability for you to recognize. So what happened after that was I threw myself into some crazy social situations just to figure myself into some fucking deep ends. In fact, one time I walked around the city of Melbourne. This was a really interesting story that I learned from, with a box of cupcakes. And I had was so nervous. I was like, I've just got to give away these cupcakes for free. I've got to give these cupcakes away for free. These are Melbourne's best cupcakes. And I was just really feeling like, I've got to do it, I've got to do it, I've got to do it. And I was so fucking nervous. When I finally came up with the courage to say to someone, hey, do you want these cupcakes? They looked at me like I'd poisoned them, that I'd brought all this pain and anxiety, and I was looking for validation. And sometimes when we want to be good at social skills, or we're feeling social anxiety, what we're really worried about is not getting that validation from other people. So what I really at a base level teach is self-love. So in that story, I ended up throwing those cupcakes away. Now, what I did was I literally had traveled the world. I was working with other people around social anxiety, around teaching guys like confidence skills and things like that. And finally, when I returned to Melbourne, when I was like, I hate that, I want to work with people, I don't know what I want to do yet. And then women were like, hey, you got to work with us. And now I sort of do whatever I'm doing now. The overall idea that I've developed from there is that really we get in our own way. And I'm going to be talking about these social anxiety things that I really help people through as well. And if you want to do it to yourself, that's okay as well. Your choice is yours. I always really think it's powerful to have someone work with you on this. I've always had a mentor. Choice is yours. You can be your own mentor. But overall, learning social skills, learning things to say, things to do, whatever, is not going to work if you don't fucking work. If you yourself are getting in your own way due to fears and anxieties and all that sort of stuff, like, all that shit can fucking wait, because it doesn't matter anyway. All these opening lines, I used to try and memorize opening lines. I thought it was the solution to all my problems. And then I memorized all these opening lines, couldn't fucking do them. Memorize these opening lines. Then after that, what do you got? You got like, wear funny clothing. The peacocking thing that a lot of people say. If you peacock, people will open up conversations with you. The real funny thing is, when I first started learning about social skills, I was someone who naturally peacocked. I liked to dress up. I liked to dress really ostentatiously. In fact, I've only recently allowed myself to get back into that because I really enjoy dressing up. And if you think that that's going to be the solution to your problem, or buying a really nice dress, people will recognize you. People recognize the person wearing the dress. People recognize the person wearing the suit. The suit or the dress or whatever itself only works so much. A smile is the most attractive thing you can wear, and fucking what is that a representation of? That is a representation of who you are at a fucking core level. So we gotta let that out. So how do we do that? We take off all the layers that gets in the way. So without further ado, tip number 1. So tip number 1, we gotta stop calling it anxiety. I often find that these labels that we give these things in our head will empower it more. You can call it depression, yes, or you can call it deep introspection. You can call it anxiety, or you can call it just gathered energy. Often what that anxiety means, or what we feel it is. Imagine, for example, you saw a tree, but instead of a tree, you called it a house. you'd spend your entire life trying to live in that house, trying to make it better. And sure, it would be good, and you'd actually probably be good at making tree houses. It still wouldn't be as accurate if you called it a tree and said this is what a tree is. It grows, it has these fruits and all that kind of stuff. So if you recognize anxiety as energy. Now, for some people who would watch this video and they're like, yeah, but I'm actually anxious. This is anxiety. Some people get so caught up in their anxiety that they love it, that it gives them power, because if they're anxious, they don't have to do something. They can feel special. So the choice is yours. If your anxiety gives you something, you don't need to change it. Keep it. Be anxious. Love it. Be the most anxious person you can. But if you recognize and your soul recognizes that there's something beyond anxiety for you, then we got to stop calling it anxiety. You can to express it to other people. But when you are looking at it yourself, call it energy, because it is energy stuck in your system. If you think chakras, if you think meridian systems, for example, or even if you think emotions, it's like it's there. Imagine there's a dam and the energy is coming and it's trying to hit through, it's trying to go through, but you haven't opened up the floodgates. So what closes the floodgates is either a fear, a memory, just something that has created a lot of anxiety, which we can call it, or a blockage. So I just called it anxiety just for the purposes of that, but something that has created a blockage that is stopping that energy from flowing. So we feel it somewhere. Some people feel it in their chest, some people feel it in their shoulders, some people feel it somewhere in their body. But because of that blockage, it cannot flow. When it flows, it will flow at the level that you want it to flow. Some people have that blockage because they're worried that they're scared of their own power. I know I was. I was personally scared of my own power, that if I thought that, hey, if I was this or this or this, I would take opportunities away from other people, or I would be too potent, for example, because I can be quite overpowering, like charismatically sometimes, which is why videos are good for me, because it sort of filters that a little bit. But what also can happen is some people are anxious because they're afraid of being hurt. These are all the blockages. So this perfectly leads into thing number 2. Now, thing number 2 is we don't necessarily have to worry about the thoughts. Now, this is what we call the letting go practice. This is a real core of not only what I teach, but a real core of who I am as a person. The letting go practice is very simply allowing yourself to feel that emotion without trying to change it. Very too often, what happens is a lot of people try and will fight that anxiety. They'll try and force it, they'll try and change it, and they'll try and mentalize it. If I do this or 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 this, will I get past it? But what really has to happen is and this is, in my opinion, the most finest, most powerful version of self-love, and that is appreciating it by observing it. And what I mean by observing it is look at it, notice it. Don't notice the thoughts, but notice the feelings, because the thoughts are only an interpretation of that feeling. When you allow your mind to focus on that feeling, just to feel that feeling itself, that feeling of anxiety, pain, it changes. It changes form. Sometimes it changes form because we integrate it. We learn something from it. Sometimes it changes form because we hold it and we become stronger through it. Sometimes it changes form because we realize it's not so bad. A good majority of the time, while people would say that they are anxious, it's because they are not looking at what is going on in their body, their bodily processes. So it's not working for you because you're not allowing your consciousness to pour on that part of you which is not working. It's like the puzzle pieces aren't fitting together. And then you get anxious because it's like, I got to go to this party, I got to talk to people, but my puzzle isn't finished yet. So goddamn, look at the puzzle. Appreciate it, and more importantly, let it go. When you look at your emotion without trying to modify it, and this is something that I lead people through in my 6-week program. When you look at it without trying to modify it, what happens is you surrender to it. You don't try and change it, and it will change forms. Pain will become pleasure, and pleasure becomes more pleasure. And also, this also includes the positive emotions, because desire, pride, all of these other things can hold us back just as well. If you've ever been, and this is what I would commonly, in my language, refer to it as crushed under the weight of your own destiny or your own desires, that's it. Your desires have become a weed just as much as your anxieties. And these desires can hold us back as well because it stops us from living and perceiving in the present point of time. So overall, what happens is when you're for example, in a party or a situation where you have to be social, you're naturally a very social person. I have never met someone who isn't. And some people would like message me now and be like, Harvey, you haven't met me. I'm really not that social. And I say, bullshit, you're talking to me now. When you are a social person, or more importantly, when you remove the blockages stopping you from being a social person, you not only allow yourself to be social, but you allow other people. So it's a two-way street. So if you're ever worried about, but what if they don't talk? Don't worry about if they don't talk. If they don't talk, you won't talk to them. Your socialness, your natural socialness will automatically lead you to those people who are social so you can connect with them. It's like an internal compass. When you are freaking out, your fucking compass is pointing at those other people that are freaking out, and you go, hi, and they go, hi, and you're like, see, it doesn't work, Harvey, fuck you. But when your compass is aligned right, and by observing your compass, your hearts, your anxiety, the feelings that are going on inside you without modifying them, your compass will automatically direct and head in the right direction, and as a result, you will head in that right direction. Your compass will lead you towards the people that are most connected to you. Now, this leads to topic number 3, and this one is honestly something a little bit more practical and really kind on yourself, because what I just said can be quite confronting. If you're feeling your emotions without modifying them, and there are some emotions that you've been avoiding for years, you'll be appreciating them the fucking hard way. And like doing that alone can be a very hard and arduous experience. So this leads perfectly into topic number 3. So topic number 3, be easy on yourself. One thing that can be extremely painful is if you think you have to get over something by throwing yourself into the deep end. Now, a lot of people will do this because they are what we can call masochists. They're like, well, I got to get good at this. So it's really not about social anxiety. It's really about proving themselves if they are really that kind of person. So what I mean by throwing yourself into the deep end is, say, for example, going out by yourself when you feel like you're not ready, going to the beach when you feel like you're not comfortable with your body, going to an event where you feel like you don't know anyone. Make it easier on yourself. Go with friends. Drop the weights. You don't have to do things so intensely because it's those little steps that count. It's those little steps that build up and 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 build up. Observing your emotions is by far the most powerful thing, but this step here, step number 3, is something that'll happen automatically. Is that if you want to go out and you're really wanting to experience that social side of who you are and other people, bring friends. Make it easier on yourself. You are not weak for making it easier on yourself. You are strong by recognizing that you have needs and you are in fact looking after those needs. Because if you go out, for example, if you think, I gotta beat my social anxiety, I'm gonna go out by myself, and you spend your time fucking freaking your bean, what's gonna happen is that all you're doing is programming yourself to be more anxious or get more of that energy stuck, and you're creating more blockages, and you're like, see, every time I go out, it's terrible. Terrible, 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 terrible. Gotta make it easier on yourself. Create some positive reference experiences. These are experiences that help support a good nature. Now, to bring it back to number 2, the letting go practice, which is a thing that I fucking push more than anything else in the world, and it's something that I do now to this day, is that when you let go of those blockages, what happens is those negative reference experiences disappear with them. Is that your mind, what happens is your mind categorizes your experiences by emotion. So if there is no more, if you've pulled out that weed of, say, for example, anxiety or pain, and that's gone, all those related emotions and memories that have stacked on that since will also disappear at a very deep subconscious level. So if you are having all of these negative reference experiences of, oh my God, every time I go out, it's pain, or I want to meet people, it's pain, it's all that sort of stuff, it's pain, it's pain, it's pain, it's pain, it's pain, well, of course you're going to go out and you're going to have a really bad time. And when I say go out, I mean leave the fucking house. If you are anxious at a train station because you're like, I got to talk to people, or oh my God, there's people nearby, You're gonna have a bad time. Workplace situations, public situations, party situations, anything. Anything where you're feeling social and you're feeling nervous around there is another fucking human being, we could technically classify as this sort of blockage. So, make it fucking easy on yourself. Look at your emotions. Observe them. Don't try and modify them. And when you do go out, allow it to be easier on yourself. Bring friends or go to smaller events that don't make it so goddamn hard for you. And if you're the kind of person who's watching this video and say, you know what, I'm gonna, like Harvey doesn't know, I'm gonna jump into the deep end, fine, go do it. Prove me wrong. But by trying to prove me wrong, all you do is gonna try and prove yourself right. And are you trying to prove yourself right? Or are you trying to actually get yourself to like flow and live in your actual potential? Too many people, god damn it, too many fucking people, I read your fucking comments, I watch fucking people writing on Instagram stuff, I talk to you, it's insane. Too many fucking people are in it to try and prove it to themselves. They are in it to find love not because they actually want love, but they want to prove to themselves that they're worthy of it. So as a result, they're going to only meet those people that are going to cause more problems and whatever. Some people are so fucking mental or they're so hurt, so they become so mental that they cannot allow themselves to see love, that they always chase the harder person because they feel like they need to, because they need to learn something. But truth be told, really, my job is to help you unlearn the bullshit that stops you from fucking connecting with other people. That's it in a nutshell, is that you are already perfect. You're already beautiful. You're already amazing. God fucking damn it, accept it, you idiot. And that way you can move forward and actually fucking live your life. Now, some people like this will be living their life, right? But if you've watched a video about social anxiety, it's very clear that there is something that is holding you back right now, that you are living your life in every aspect except for the socialness, right? So do these things, do these 3 things, but if you really want help through it, right? If you really want help through it, there's 2 options for you right now. Actually, there's 3 options. First one is do these things. It's already aside. The second thing that you can do is go onto my website, www.gethimhooked.com, and I've created what we call there's 2 courses that are potential for you. The first one is called The Hook Point, which is my first online course I've ever created. You get to see me at a younger age. Oh my God, what was I thinking? And The Hook Point is an online course where I slowly step you through making social situations easier on yourself. I think it runs over the course of a week. It allows you to do that. Course number 2 is the 7-day self-love course, which is a deep meditation course, which allows you to feel your emotions without trying to modify them. It just brings them to the surface so that way you can connect with them. Now, option number 3 is actually working with me one-on-one with my world-famous 6-week program. Now, in 6 weeks, we work together on your particular goal or your desire, whether that is creating a love life, whether that is getting over social anxiety. You know, people want to sometimes take it at their own pace. So instead of doing 6 weeks, we do 12 weeks. You know, we spread it out. Choice is yours. But what happens is usually we get over it very quickly. So we get over what is holding you back within the first few weeks. And then after that, it's going deeper with that just to really ensure that it's longer lasting. And I've never worked with someone that I don't like working with. It's fucking fantastic. I only work with a few people at a time. So if you want that, you can get a free coaching call experience. That is www.gethimhooked.com. And there'll be a button up top that says private coaching. So thank you so much for your time. I'm here to help and I'm here if you need me. So please don't hesitate to contact me or get in touch. You can email me at harvey@gethimhooked.com. And I'm here for you, you know. Love makes the world go round, so let's love more. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.